Greetings, everybody. How you doing? Miss Ladybug, Debbie here in the Applegate. Today's topic is how little bumps can evoke a huge trajectory in a whole different direction. I decided on this topic because I've had a number of bumps in life that seemingly weren't that big of a deal at the time and ended up completely changing the direction of my life. One of such instances occurred 10 years ago this week, and that was what seemingly was a very small, benign slip at work on a wet hospital floor. I didn't fall, but I did everything to prevent falling. So windmill arms and legs and twisting in every position to maintain my balance. So I didn't fall, but I did end up twisting and torquing all kinds of muscles in my back, and it made it so I had some really bad pain, and I started going to the doctor and started doing physical therapy and ended up going into a severe fibromyalgia flare, which had been moderately controlled with, unfortunately at that time, opiates, because that was okay for me to use opiates not while I work, but as a nurse, I could use opiates when I was off work. Couldn't use cannabis while I was off work, but I could use opiates while I was off work. So that was the protocol, was opiates and muscle relaxers and benzodiazepines for muscle spasms. That's what they give you. That's what they give many people for muscle spasms. But mine did not let up. And like I said, it put me into this severe fibro flare, and my doctor took me off work. She said, "You can't work anymore." And I was not tolerating the medications very well, but I had no other choice. I did not know about cannabis as a medication at that time. And I never went back to work as a nurse. I walked off the floor and went to the doctor the next day, and I tried physical therapy. I tried working on a reduced load. I tried all kinds of things, all their medications, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I was taken off work, and that was the end of my nursing career. From not a big injury, not a major motor vehicle accident, not a stroke, just a slip and twist, and then it started this whole cascade, and it changed the whole trajectory of my life. And then I went through all those years of medications, and I'd had medications before that, but they got amped up even more because I wasn't able to work. And then you've seen what happened on this vlog that I've done since 2016. So you've seen the last almost 4.5, 5 years, kind of where that all went. Well, I think I might have hit kind of another bump that seemingly shouldn't be such a big deal according to much we read and hear, but I got COVID in November, and no lung problems, didn't get hospitalized, was moderately sick. This headache that I've had, since November 18th. So I think I'm around 80 days, 75, 80 days, somewhere around there. But it's not left, as well as other symptoms. I've been being followed with my physician, and I've seen an ear, nose, and throat specialist last week. And thus far, I've had 2 diagnoses, one of adrenal fatigue and the other of vestibular migraines, both of which fit me, actually. I have a dear friend who's known me for the last 10, 11 years, has a medical background in psychology, psychiatry, as a therapist, and now as a Chinese medicine acupuncturist. And she's like, adrenal fatigue for you? Probably. You've been in high stress your whole life as a type A person. You've gone through all this withdrawals off all these medications. You've been homeless. You have not had good support. You haven't had interactions with close family members. That's all extremely stressful, and high stress is one of the big components of just really racking havoc with your adrenals. The vestibular migraines, I see my own physician tomorrow. The ear, nose, and throat specialist has referred me back to her with the instructions that I need to see a neurologist for a full workup. I've been doing a little research on this topic, and it's not a very good thing to have. Vestibular migraines. They don't feel very good at all. Like I said, I've had a headache since November 18th. Today is not so bad, but yesterday I had, there was a barometric pressure change, which seems to really affect this. So your vestibular nerve is in your inner ear, and you have a lesser vestibular nerve and a higher vestibular nerve. I'm still learning. But it affects your vision, it affects your hearing and your ear, it affects your balance, and it also affects joints and muscles. So I am curious and a bit suspicious. I have had headache issues of various types my entire life. I've also been a bit of a klutz. I've had dizzy spells, and I've had muscle and tendon and joint pain most of my life. I was in a motor vehicle accident when I was 6 weeks old. Mind you, this is 1962, and I was in a bassinet on the front seat on the passenger side. And a drunk driver hit us, and I was thrown into the wheel well. I know this because I've heard stories from my grandparents when I was growing up, and I remember them. And I remember them talking about how scary it was seeing a little teeny tiny baby with a needle in her head to drain off the fluid off of her brain. And I also remember them being so happy and grateful as I matured and met all my benchmarks, actually exceeded most benchmarks, and was walking early, talking early, and then got into school and tested very, very high in all arenas. So they were like, oh, there was no damage. But I'm curious and a little wondering now if possibly that vestibular nerve was injured and it has affected me in a very mild way through my life, and then got COVID, and the inflammation from COVID triggered something in there that has brought this very altering headache into my life. So I'm on a journey. When I found this out last week, I'm going to be very frank with you. I was pretty depressed, especially after I came home and started looking up what vestibular migraines are and what the treatments are. The treatments, pharmacologically, are all medications I've come off of. SSRIs, SRNIs, benzodiazepines. I can't take beta blockers because my heart rate's down in the 40s and 50s. So medications are out. I mean, the ENT, I'm going to be having to have educational moments with high-end doctors. It's a little nerve-wracking. Fortunately, my benzo withdrawal symptoms are reduced enough that I do pretty good articulating and making my point without getting really upset. Not always. I still have some of those flash moments, and that also can come from adrenal fatigue and the vestibular migraines. So when I got diagnosed with the adrenal fatigue, I wanted to share this also. My doctor and I had a long discussion about this because she completely supports me and definitely agrees that I have been injured by pharmaceuticals and that it's changed my life. She thinks I'm quite amazing that I have come. She's seen my record. She knows what I was on. And she's like, you are not a typical patient. And very few people do what you've done and come out on this side intact as well as you are. So she is so on board for me. Oh, crud. And there went my brain. I was trying to make a point. Give me a second. Brain fog is part of the vestibular migraines as well. Oh, crud. Maybe it'll come back. Anyway, I know my doctor's going, I know, teaching doctors, educating doctors about what I've been through and the realities of it, not what's in their textbooks. I'm going to have to be seeing neurologists, physiotherapists, a lot of high-end specialists. And, medications are their go-to. It's what they know. It's what they're taught. They aren't bad people. I don't think most doctors who have medicated people, wrongly or not, I don't really feel any physician that medicated me had malicious intent to harm my life. I think that they're human. They followed what they've been taught. There's greed involved of financial gain. That's human nature. That's not just doctors. But, it's what they know. And so it's really, I'm in an interesting position that I can show them my records of all these medications that I was told I was going to have to be on the rest of my life, and I've been able to come off them, have been able to mostly modulate with cannabis. And I'm going to seek out the most non-invasive, non-toxic, holistic healing modalities that I can to manage this potential lifelong condition. So, yeah, I was a little depressed last week, but I've been practicing radical acceptance, a lot of gratitude. I almost feel like the whole going through the benzo withdrawal and everything I've been through the last 5 years was kind of amping me up just to be prepared for this. So yeah, I don't know how it's all going to look. Little bumps in the road can make you go clear into a different direction. So I can't be prepared for what's coming. That was my big takeaway in my counseling session yesterday. It was quite emotional, actually, because of my trauma in my past. I have been a good Girl Scout, always be prepared, and that little girl in me, I've been just really hard on her about Be prepared, be prepared. If there's a mistake, it's your fault because you weren't prepared. But you know what? Life happens. You can't be prepared for everything. The only preparation you can do is getting your head straight, getting your heart warm and loving and welcome, and be open to the possibilities. Carry hope. Ask for help when you need it. And know that each step is a journey. This whole thing is a journey. You think you're mapping it out. You think you're planning it. You think you're prepared. And life happens. Little bumps in the road. Whole different direction. I could sit here and cry. I have. I could scream and yell. I have. I probably will again. But I'm really grateful because today I'm sitting here talking to you with a smile on my face and I'm put together and my head's not screaming at me. So, this gives me hope. This lets me be grateful for the moment and be in the moment. Whereas last night I was in the moment and it sucked. When the barometer went up and my headache started going up and I put my little WeatherX earbuds in, and my friend, she sat here and watched it over about an hour and a half period. She said, I watched you get possessed. That's what that headache feels like, that I'm getting possessed. She says you were fine and talking, and over a period of an hour and a half, you're scrunched down, you got your sunglasses on, you're barely talking, your face is hanging down, you walk, bumping into the walls. It's wild, wild, wild. So I don't know what's in the future. I just have to go with the flow, go be in the moment, be grateful for the good moments, navigate the best I can the bad moments. What's been also hard with all of this of being sick and being quite disabled at times, I've been alone for years. And even when I wasn't alone, whenever I was sick, I pretty much went and hid. And it's been very hard having someone watching me be so terribly sick, completely disabled, non-functioning, and really in a lot of pain. Talk about vulnerability. Jeez. Fortunately, my friend loves me and I love her, and I know she loves me and she has no ill intent towards me. But man, talk about a vulnerable position to be in. So I'm on this journey and I'm going with the flow, learning, finding gratitude, loving, forgiving myself mostly. I am my worst critic, and I have been so harsh on myself all my life. Another injury to my adrenals. And so it's time for self-care and loving myself and putting myself first. And I'm doing that. I've got a great page on Facebook called Healthy Habits for Living Well that I started a couple years ago, and I've picked it back up, and I'm kind of using it as a motivator for myself and for others. I used to be great at goals, going back to school, business goals. I know how to do all that big, productive type stuff, but I'm like just starting over. I'm like baby steps still, relearning to get up in the morning and brush my teeth and take my vitamins. I've been in survival mode, but I am developing habits to move forward and help me better deal with these new paths that I'm on. And it's working pretty good. I'm in February. I did at least half of all my goals for daily routine last month every day. I am going a lot slower. I actually have a funky mantra that goes, slow, go slow, go slow, slow, go slow, go slow. That's my little mantra to myself when I'm doing a chore, when I'm getting up from the chair, because I've gone zoom, 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 zoom my whole life, and I need to slow down now. So my focus is getting good habits, getting good routine, loving myself, loving my world, even though it's challenging. This is it, folks. There's no dress rehearsal. You better find some enjoyment, even in this world that we're living in that's so challenging right now. You better find some joy. Don't go waiting for someone to make it for you. You better find something to appreciate and be grateful for, because otherwise you're going to be really miserable. I know, I've been there. I've been that whiny, miserable, complaining. Everything was just about how bad I felt. And it didn't make a damn thing better. But you know what? Having a good attitude, having gratitude, being kind to myself, eating good foods, making healthy choices, having good habits, having good routines, those are impacting my life in very good ways. So that's what I try to focus on. That's what I mostly share. If I share a bad day, well, maybe I need a little lifting up, or maybe I'm educating and I don't even know it. But I do try to be very positive almost all the time. And here I am. Anyway, so 10 years ago, man, I was rocking and rolling as a nurse in Salem, Oregon, working 12-hour shifts, making good money, hopeful of going back to school and getting my master's degree. I had all these big visions and plans. And instead, I've spent the last 2 years saving my life and trying to get my health back. And now I got a new bump. That means my health is still challenged. But it doesn't mean my life's over. And it doesn't mean I don't have hope. And it doesn't mean miracles don't happen. I believe in miracles. Helps me get through the day. I'm kind of a miracle myself, I think. I should be dead. By many counts, I should be dead. So, I believe in miracles. Anyway, that's my talk for today. I don't know, it hit me what day it was, and that it had been 10 years, and that my life is so different. And sometimes I'm still a little resentful because I had it going on, but I still have it going on. It just looks a lot different. Anyway, I appreciate every single person that logs on, logs in, says hi, finds something useful. I love you all. And if you hate it, sorry. That's not my fault. I'm just trying to give some goodness out here in the world, all right? All right. You guys all take care. I'll be checking in with you again later after I have some more details on these new trajectories I've been thrust into. All right. Peace, y'all. You have a fabulous February.